Welcome back. No seconds to lose. We jump into Champion Select.
Ooh.
What are you guys feeling? Obviously, Nidalee.
Okay. Also got to call it out, XL on red side, that's a bit scary for the counter pick options that XL have, and we had this conversation off air.
Yes.
Side selection was going to be big.
Yeah, and I think more specifically for Riddle now, because they're going to have to blind pick at least one of their solo laners. It's going to have to be a thing. Volibear ban out of the gate definitely says to me that they're willing to actually throw away some bans towards comfort. Dan, I think Volibear is by far and away his most played champion this split. So interesting to see that one. Nidalee, of course, it's kind of a custom area against Riddle.
Indeed. And like, there's the Hecarim as well, because what I'm seeing from these ones is these are go buttons that Dan has often been in charge of for XL. He and Kikis tend to be the ones that are making the plays happen, and when you are kind of using those two to control the jungle, to control the plays being made and where it's happening across the map, taking off champions that allow easy engage options with your level 6, particularly Stormbringer, Onslaught Shadow is really, really good for that. Renata Jinx ban's interesting from XL there. I wasn't expecting a Renata first round ban necessarily, but she's kind of been rising in priority a little bit over the world.
Yeah, she's definitely a champion that I think now that teams have had the opportunity to practice with her, they're starting to get to grips with, hey, we're in a relatively heavy front-to-back meta.
That's true.
Zeri is available.
Zeri is available,
Aphelios as well, so
Aphelios.
that could be the first rotation.
That's the Aphelios. Paratens does some good stuff with it. We saw like the clip that was in the highlight reel where I messed up the play-by-play. Very upset about that.
Yes.
He did very well on. But it's just, is it just a Zeri pickup? What I'll say is it's for Zamalek, who's often left to his own devices. I mean, Zeri can escape from stuff, don't get me wrong, but Kikis just doesn't spend time in lane. And that could be, I'm not sure how I feel about leaving a Zeri by herself.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Typically, I think the most favored combo with Zeri is Yuumi, and obviously Yuumi not exactly most known for roaming unless it's with the jungle, sort of like post level 6. So I'm curious to see what XL actually end up doing with this Zeri. But over to the opposite side from Riddle, you've given over the Zeri now. There's still quite a few very powerful picks open, specifically in the jungle, because there's so much. Yeah, there you go. I think that makes sense as well. Go button, because there are so many powerful AD junglers still up and available. Taking up the Xin Zhao right now makes a lot of sense. I think for MC, what we're likely to see is the default to the Lee Sin. Not too surprised about this one. It should get locked in. And you could just go with the Aphelios for the Thresh rather.
I like that. So you can flex the Akali to away from Cries. Slow Q is also just a very good Akali, which I think makes a lot of sense. It's once you hit level 6, you've got a lot of kill threat between a Lee Sin and Akali if they can start roaming. Not a lot of setup, but get to another lane. Dangerous things happen there. It's obviously still a flex, potentially. I don't know whether it's necessarily what I'd call a kept champion, but you could do it. The Jace, however, very much is a flex because MNS played the Jace last time out, and while he died a few times, was still up about 80 CS by the mid game, so you could still see that one being a flex here as well.
Yeah, and I think this is a really powerful R3 pick because no matter where the Akali goes now, the Jace can always follow. The Jace in lane is always going to have priority, it's always going to be able to effectively just kind of keep the Akali down and make sure that she's not going to have some of that roaming power. But that means on Dan's end, Dan is going to have to baby this lane, especially if it's in the mid lane. If it's in the mid lane, there's way more angles of attack for Riddle, so I definitely want to see if this is going to be MNS piloting that Jace, that Dan is consistently around this mid lane to ensure that MC doesn't just get free ganks off for just about nothing. As Thresh gets moved away, I think that makes a whole bunch of sense, and now Riddle, it's kind of an awkward position to be in because you don't necessarily want to take away too many supports. They're just saying, we think this Jace is going into the top side, so we're going to remove away mid laners for now.
Yeah, and the problem is banning away mid lane is all well and good, but we've literally seen and chatted so often about MNS's ability to just hit random in Champion Select, work with what he gets. Hell, I was watching a solo queue and he was playing Kalista top and doing just fine. Like this that's the kind of player he is. He's very comfortable on a lot of different champions, and that flexibility makes drafting, especially against an XL on red side, so difficult. I still understand the Vex ban, it makes a lot of sense. It's a lot of easy follow-up on something like a Xin Zhao. It's, you know, AP mixed with the AD, so I understand that, but you can see there's just a little bit of debate here in this sort of next round of bans, like what on earth do you ban out? You can see the Aurelia ban here as well from XL saying like, yeah, this Akali could well be flex, and slow Q's Aurelia is not something we want to leave on the table.
Yeah, no, and Kex is also very capable of playing Aurelia.
That's fair,
I think it just works both ways. It makes the most sense. They're going to remove away the Syndra, so that makes me wonder whether Riddle are going to go for something a little more diving that's going to sort of round out the comp. They've already got the Lee Sin and the Akali to do it. They just kind of have the Aphelios work as sort of like overhead support, maybe like Gravity Ormets or Infernal Ormets. I think for XL now, you probably want to go for your support just so you can hide the Jace flex. Plenty of options.
It has to be done, yeah.
The fact they've left support so late as well, I mean, it's not that unusual, don't get me wrong, but Kikis has been really willing to pick up more unusual stuff. He'll stick it standard this time around. Hard engage, Leona does roam well. I quite like it with this. It sets up for things like the Xin Zhao and the Jace to hit someone really hard, and it's a go button again, which I really appreciate for Kikis and Dan in general.
Now you're forced to open your hand. Riddle finally have to reply to what JDXL have been building so far. Do they go for the support now and think a little bit more?
Yeah, I think what we might end up seeing is something like Braum.
Yeah.
I think you kind of immediately end up winning out the bottom 2v2 and 3v3, but instead they're going to go for the Rakan, so it's obviously the more team fighting option, and that says to me, mid-game, they're looking for those crazy dives. They need the Rakan to, you know, help facilitate the Lee Sin and the Akali when they go in. And now it's just about, where's this Akali going to end up? Is it going to end up in Kek's hands? Is it going to end up in slow queues? I would probably wager slow queues and we see something sort of on the side of maybe like a Gnar or something that can sort of provide a bit more engage or follow-up.
Old school. No, don't doubt it. I like the hover, and instead Sire makes a lot of sense. One of the, if not the premier weak side top laner. You can press Q and just destroy a wave however many people are up there. Debating them. The thing is, I'm seeing this hover, and you're not supposed to talk about it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I could see that as an option.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Even the Darius could work on the top side.
Shaco obviously a bit more of a troll hover, but something like the Mordekaiser could have worked here. Instead, they're going to lean on the Gwen, makes it all the way to R5, and like you say, that's going to probably be Jace mid. This Gwen here on Cries, as kind of spoken about from the interviews, XL, they're happy to just put their solo laners on these carry picks and just say, we reckon we're going to outlane you. And that's what these lane picks to me say. And on the opposite side for Riddle, I think it's just going to be about sort of surviving on the top side, right? It's the Sion lane, and then we're just waiting for the mid game, waiting for Fatjohn to hit 2 items, waiting for the Akali to come online at that 1 item, and they're just going to fight around the mid jungle, try and get nukes up there and involved.
And it's also junglers who want to play to quite different lanes here. I feel like Dan, I mean, you can play towards bot lane here as well, but you potentially want to focus towards your Gwen, or it could just be you leave those top laners alone and let them lane on by themselves, but mid lane's pretty volatile. Bot lane could get quite volatile with the double engages into hyper carries down there. Eyes on junglers to see who they get rolling and whether they can make it happen in the first place.
Don Bennett was saying they have the upper hand in the jungle, they have the upper hand in the bot lane as well. And on the other side, just as you told us, you have to prove it. You have to look at JDXL and you have to take it away. This is the first game of a best of 5, the first game of playoffs. So without further ado, it's time to send it to the casters for Hiprain alongside Tribblink.
Thank you very much, Arkaram. Hello and welcome to the Caster Desk Trouble. We are getting ready to go into playoffs. Finally, we are here, and it is Riddle versus JDXL.
And in studio?
In studio.
You're going to mention that?
Yeah, this is actually, how did that
skip my mind? It's our first playoffs in studio.
I'm so excited.
Okay, I didn't know you could go that high.
I can go higher. Not going to do it, though, because I don't want to shatter people's ears. So, Riddle versus XL. Obviously, a lot of people kind of leaning a little bit towards XL.
Slightly.
Just slightly. Obviously, they are a team who we have high expectations for. They're a very storied organization within the NLC and the leagues that came before it. But Riddle, you know, they're here. What are we thinking? Me and you talked a little bit about these about the champ selectors we were getting into the game. And one of the things you kind of hit on was Riddle, their team comp is easier to execute.
They are kind of easy to execute. They're the typical front to back. They've got the Sion to initiate fights together with the Rakan. They can very easily reach the backline with the Lee Sin as well. So they do have a bunch of tools that will help them in the fights, whilst also having the Akali jumping in the backline as well. And this is where not an issue comes in, but it's more like the JDXL factor comes in, because JDXL don't necessarily play for the easier to execute compositions. They just play for comfort, and like also Torok said in the interview, they're gonna want to play peak League of Legends. Now, having a tougher to execute draft and tougher to execute champions as well will show up later on when you show off that skill and you play that peak League of Legends.
Well, we are through on to the Rift for our first game. You can see our momentum meter along the bottom of the top of the bar, top of the screen, sorry. Our analysts will actually be sitting in the green room and leaning towards where they think the momentum is going. Obviously, we can argue against it if we like, but for anybody who's new to the broadcast or maybe new to League of Legends, gives you a little understanding of
momentum right here for XL.
Who's got the momentum. Yeah, here we go, XL. Using the momentum to... No. I'm just going to go in and try and get some vision down and keep an eye on where MC is. MC's obviously been someone who we do want to keep an eye on. You know, we think of champions like Nidalee and Nidalee for MC.
Lee Sin?
Yeah, I guess MC. Well, that's because Nidalee's banned most of the time.
Great. I prefer the Lee Sin.
Yeah, same. But, you know, I think they're kind of... One of the key weaknesses that Riddle have is MC champ pool. I think it's a fair criticism. Obviously, Lee Sin is something we do see him on a fair amount, mainly because like things like Nidalee are banned, but we're actually having a little bit of action breaking out here. Kikis has thrown the Ignite down, and Fatikan gonna have to run away. Kikis able to get out as Zamulek goes burr.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a trade in the bot lane, just to try and see if you can pick up an Ignite, if you can pick up a Cleanse, if you can pick up any Summoner, because you do have a pretty aggressive jungler from the side of Riddle. You can make things happen, even level 3, because you have so much set up down the bot lane, especially with the Rakan. But it's the same thing for Dan as well. And mind you, because they put the ward on the top side jungle of MC, MC's going to clear his bot jungle first and then head to top side of the map. But the Silent Lane is not necessarily a lane you want to play against. If you look on the other side of the map, Dan is playing towards the bot side of the map, which means that if the XL bot lane can manage to burn a Summoner, something like a Flash, a Cleanse for the bot side of the map versus Riddle, then it's very easy setup to try and even tower dive, build up the wave, get the Zinza down bot lane, and try to shut down that Aphelios from very early on.
Well, as we're having a look towards the mid lane, M&S able to get a nice shove into Slowq. You kind of expect this when you've got that Jace versus the likes of an Akali.
I actually don't remember the last time that M&S has not shoved a wave underneath his opponent's tower. This guy, I wish we could have a percentage of proximity underneath enemy tower. Pre 10 minutes. I think M&S would win that.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm not even going to argue against that. Now, we are seeing MC obviously doing a full clear upwards through the jungle. Is on this top side of the map. Kryze hasn't actually got a ward to work with, so does have to be semi-aware of those potential, as Dan is on the bottom side, so we'll probably see Kryze maybe pay a little bit of respect here.
Yeah,
The pings go down. They do see the Dan's actually coming in, and Fatikan just gonna have to jump away. He's not actually gonna get caught out, not gonna take it. Riddle were far enough back. They paid respect to the enemy jungle and won't really sacrifice anything for that.
I think this was a little bit of a whoopsie from Dan right there. He could have very well hidden into that bush or continued with the Scuttle Crab, because they had seen MC on the top side ward. They knew that he was at his blue buff. There wasn't enough big wave from the sort of JDXL to crush it underneath tower. Actually, the wave from Riddle is pushing into XL, and they just weren't patient enough to either allow Riddle to push further so they can catch them midway through the lane, or then try for a tower dive. It was a little bit indecisive from the sort of JDXL. No harm made.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, MC just pinged that he's sprinting it down bot lane. They are trying to build a wave, but the wave is being thinned out. If they can manage to keep this cannon minion, they could potentially shove harder. And in the chance that Kikis does engage this bot lane, then MC is right there to defend them. But very clever ward presence right there from Kikis on the third brush down that bot lane and in Tribush as well.
I was also just taking a quick look at the summoner spells. If they go too hard under tower, Zamulek has that exhaust. Fatikan obviously running the cleanse, but might not be quite as useful. As actually going to find the Gravitum off here onto Zamulek, but Zamulek able to get away.
And MC is taking the turn around. He has been spotted from a ward, so JDXL are aware this is happening. There is one teleport only available.
Oh, they find the knock up. There's the Ignite. Zamulek's going very, very low here, but he gets first blood thanks to the exhaust. MC is next up on the menu. Zamulek coming in with a double kill. Answered out with one on the side of Riddle as well. Beautiful dive and beautiful save by JDXL.
Oh, you mentioned it yourself. That exhaust is so important. Diving Leona is so dangerous as well because he has so many ways to immobilize you underneath the tower. Rakan is very squishy. He cannot withstand too much damage from the tower. And even though that was a 3 versus 2 against JDXL, they managed to trade 2 for 2. Both kills, of course, going respectively to each AD carry down the bot lane. But man, it must feel good to 2v3 under tower.
And it was a little bit of a bonus gold as well over to JDXL because Zamulek got first blood. So you got that extra little bit of cash in the pocket. Is going to get back to the lane as well. Only really lost a couple of minions as Nukes caught out by Kikis, but I don't think they're really going to be looking for much more on this. Just a little bit of supportal combat. Looks like they are setting up, though, to try and get some pressure on this dragon. The wave's being shoved in by M&S. Slowq, though, looking to try and bop him in with the perfect execution. The flash away! The Ignite is burning. M&S can just about survive thanks to those biscuits. And Slowq burns the ultimate, but gains M&S's flash down as well.
You don't solo Bolo, the solo Bolo king of the NLC. That's the statement M&S does right there, but you also see the all-in potential from an Akali after 6. After level 6, Jace doesn't become any different. His ultimate is there from level literally 1, but Akali gets this access in the backline, gets to jump onto you. Someone else who gets to jump onto you is Kikis. Fatih-chan right here doesn't have flash.
Fatih-chan has been caught out. Zamulek going burr. Dan flashes forwards. They find the knock-up as Fatih-chan going so low, but he's able to survive. Zamulek wants that last auto, but he can't find it, can't find the damage, and somehow Riddle get out of that one.
Oh, I see what Zamulek tried to do there. He tried to get close enough to use his actual right-click auto-attack, but Fatih-chan was just out of range from that right-click, and he couldn't obviously Q because he was hiding behind both the Rakan and the tower, and they would both have blocked the Q. Really well played, honestly, from the side of Riddle to come out of this unscathed. And from what I'm seeing, Nukes is also holding the wave, so I don't think Fatih-chan is going to lose too much from all this mess down the bot lane.
This wave here is a little bit too thin for a dive onto Kreis, so Kreis going to be pretty comfortable underneath his tower here, as Kex is just looking to shove this one in fairly heavily. Does look like the pings, though, are towards what this Rift Tower will be spawning up momentarily, so we'll probably start to see some attention shift towards there. Zamulek actually is pathing down towards the bottom
They both
side,
are.
so not going for that.
So this is pretty characteristic of both of these teams. They will not usually rotate their AD carries towards the top side of the map to take the Herald. A team that really does that is Dusty, so keep your eyes on that for Wednesday's playoffs, because Dusty does rotate the entire team up Herald, but both of these teams will usually take the support towards the top side of the map. And now the question is, usually when these swaps happen around 8 minutes, one of the two supports will usually have just about hit level 6, and the other one will not. Usually the one that will sit mostly around mid lane and steal some XP off of the mid laner will have that level 6, whilst the other support that has actually recalled later doesn't have the luxury of stealing some more XP from a lane and then moving to Herald, and then move straight to Herald. Now, of course, you see Kikis in the mid lane. He's trying to soak up some of that XP. Hasn't necessarily hit level 6 yet, but you see how the entirety of JDXL is hovering towards the bot side of the map where Zamulek is.
MC is actually stealing away the blue buffer in this meanwhile, so is also in the area. Over the wall Kikis goes. MC actually continuing to try and counter jungle. Will spot out Kikis, finds the kickback as Nukes has come in. Don't think they actually expect Dan to be there, so that's the kick down from MC. Nothing really gained or lost at all there.
That is a little bit weird. That was a pretty good movement from the side of Riddle. They see that everyone is around mid lane, so MC gets a pretty easy pathing into the lane, into Dan's jungle, steals away the blue buff, and of course, when you have a Zeri with a bounty on her, you expect some sort of build-up of the wave to happen, some sort of maybe dive to happen to try and shut the Zeri down before the flash comes up and available. So I think that was a whoopsie from XL there to not expect that MC would be around. Of course, M&S is absolutely bullying away slow.
Ooh. That was a quick Q, but he dodged it. M&S actually could go melee here and probably kill him, although Slowq has the perfect execution and the ignite, so I think M&S quite happy just to take the plates, get some bonus gold in his pocket, and now with that pressure they've been able to accrue for themselves in the mid lane, and with the fact that the kick's down on MC, JDXL being very comfortable just to move into this jungle and take away this Rift Tower. And this is the second objective for them. MC just a little bit too slow to the punch.
That's also a great point of discussion as well. The pressure generated in the mid lane over and over. I'm going to hold it for a second. He doesn't necessarily have Gravitum, and there's Flash on Zamulek, so I don't think this will be hitting. Yeah, there we go. So the pressure in the mid lane for XL, we know that M&S is the solo bolo king of the NLC. The amount of pressure that this guy is able to exert every single game is immense. Now, imagine a lane that's always a priority, that always has priority. Imagine a laner that's always able to move first and is also much more fed than his opponent mid laner. That means you give the jungler so much opportunity and so much freedom to act however they want on the map. And usually Dan is a person that if you give them that power in his hands and that much freedom, he's gonna tear the opponent jungler apart. Now this has not necessarily happened yet, but that's because XL don't have to rush. They have an ever-scaling Gwen on the top side of the map that's not necessarily been threatened because it's playing against the Sion. You've got a scaling tank in the likes of Zinza. You've got M&S who's already being fed. He's going to hurt that much more later on. And we have seen what Xeris can do in the very late game where they shred open entire team fights. So they don't have to necessarily pick up the pace, because later on, if we see peak League of Legends, as Torok said, and they play individually correctly, they can actually play the fights and outplay them and manage to survive and win.
Yeah. Kikis is honestly just doing a great job here, just walking around, spotting out where MC is on the map, catches the nukes, knows that he was heading bot side, didn't actually see the reset, just feeding constant information over. With the fact that no MC's down there, this allows Dan, well, currently all coming back from base, but if Dan was on the map, we'd be able to, you know, try and make a play around that. Whether he just wants to lean onto the other side of the map, as M&S constantly has pressure, which is allowing Kikis just to be this moving ward for the side of JDXL. And Zamilek is fine. This is Zeri. Zeri's so mobile, so hard to pin in place that Zamilek quite happy just able to stand next to that wall and just jump away if needs be. They're going to use the Herald to take first tower here. M&S actually not going to be in range to be able to get the local gold from it, but that will be the gold given over to Dan.
It's 40 CS up, it's fine. Give some gold to your jungler.
Exactly.
Just yeah. So this is great stuff from XL. I think this is actually peak League of Legends. We expected it to be a bloodbath just because XL are like, if we play peak, we're better than them. Skill-wise, yes, absolutely, sure, you could be. But the thing is that they're not being greedy right now. They're playing correct. They're playing to the T. They're taking every advantage first on the map, and then they translate it into an objective, and then they might translate it into a kill. So they don't take unnecessary risks. Talking about risks.
Oh, they are looking to jump on Kikis. Kikis loses a lot of health. There's the Graviton onto free, though. Absolutely beautiful as in comes MC. Finds himself the kill. Zamilek still trying to find a little bit of additional damage for the side of JDXL as MNES comes in, gets the shock blast onto 2. Not enough to stick any more damage down as MNES is not going to get hit by the train. Kex able just to zone them away, but this will be a dragon over the side of Riddle. Able to work their way in. That was just smart pinchering. Yeah, you cursed them.
Oh no.
Let's actually see what happened here then.
So the thing here is that they thought that Eminence was moving first, but Eminence is actually not moving first, and he gets cut off by Slowq right there. Imagine that Akali always has kill pressure onto the J. So the second that Slowq is there first, that means Eminence is there second, which means his shock blasts won't land until the party is over. And that's what actually happened. Really beautiful Gravitum Moonlight Vigil as well from Fatih-chan. MC finishes the deal. You don't have Smite, you don't have access into the Dragon Pit. That means the Dragon goes to the side of Riddle. Really well played stuff right there. Kikis overextends for literally 1 second and gets instantly punished. But he will take the wolf for that. That was the revenge of the support that just got massacred. Oh no, it was actually my bad. It was actually Dan that died.
MC even tries to get the jump off as MNES actually dodging out on the knock, but is able to get charmed up. Slowq's jumped onto him with the perfect execution, finding a little bit more additional damage. He's able to jump away. MC comes in with the flash, the kick over the wall, and secures the shutdown with the ignite. Slowq burning low though. Shuriken flips to safety. Dan tries to land the wind, become lightning, unable to do so. Now MC's able to clear the wall. The Zenith blade connects. Here comes Kex. Here comes the backup. A pop up on the kick. Says who he's gonna go down. Cries too slow to the party, and XL are just crumbling in these fights.
Riddle are individually outplaying XL in these small skirmishes. Champion to champion, man to man, player to player. They are absolutely dismantling XL in those skirmishes. But, a big but, when these happen, XL always takes something in return. Whether it's a mid lane tower, whether it's a bot lane tower, whether it's a Rift Herald. And they have gotten these advantages on the map, which is why you see still, whilst XL are losing these fights, they're about 1,500 gold ahead at this point. So even though something's happening on one side of the map, some XL member is gathering something else on the other side to equalize it. But again, the listen is working. 100% kill participation for MC. He has found great kicks, he has found great Qs, he has found great participation in every single fight, he has started things for his team, and that's exactly what you need. If Slowq and MC work together to reach the backline and catch Zamilek off guard, this could be the end of a team fight for JDXL.
It was definitely a bit of a questionable fight for XL, but you know, like you said, they were able to gain stuff. You've now got the Triforce finished up onto Zamilek. Building towards that second item, that's kind of like the major spike. Well, not the major spike, but a big spike.
Interesting.
You go for that.
Rocket Belt instead of the Rift Maker for Slowq. Trying to get that backline access is so important, especially since you mentioned how mobile also Zeri is. Being able to have that slight dash forward to reach for that last Q, that last auto with the passive, is going to be very important. I really like the approach from Slowq here.
Yeah, I actually do think that's a very nice pickup here as Kex. Has to be a little bit careful. Dan is going to jump in, got the free Talon strike.
He's very beefy.
But can't find the knock-up. And like you said, he is a beefy boy. This wave's not really that big, so probably not going to go for a dive here. But they do have a Rift Herald spawned up. And if we look at the map right now, Slowq does have teleport available as Kex
That tickles.
I mean, that was a tickle, definitely. M&S able just to get a light trade off and avoid actually taking any damage himself. But currently it is the fight for the mid lane priority. MC able to pick up the Rift Crab, so has got the vision around the Rift Herald area to work with. And I wonder if JDXL just decide not to even go for this now.
Okay, I am getting slightly worried right here because I see a lot of movement and a lot of proactivity from the side of Riddle, and you could argue that that's what their champions do. You've got an Akali who wants to fight, you've got Elise, and you've got to make the early game plays, but I'm sitting here 17 minutes into the game, and I'm looking at that, and it's like 0-1-0. The only things that have gone for the side of XL have been structures so far and towers, whilst fights are being won on the other side of the map from the side of Riddle. And now that this Rift Herald has gone down, you can actually use this as a tool for the next dragon if you're Riddle and try to stack the map. Put it down in the mid lane, potentially try to take that tower or even bot lane that's almost going down, and then try to transition that into the river.
All right, let's see what Riddle decides to do with that Rift Herald. I would like to see it mid, I think. Especially with the fact you've got the dragon coming up in 30 seconds.
I'm seeing two champions heading towards the top side of the map. It is both Slowq and Kects heading towards the top side of the map. And I'm a little bit confused because Dragon is coming up and Slowq does have the teleport, but Kects has traded because he has the spellbook for the exhaust. Now he's going to back. I don't know if they thought that there was a fight going on and they just rotated everything top. But as you see, like, Kects is just not backing off. He's pressing B, then he's staying. He's pressing B, he's staying. He's on the top side of the map. There's minions that are dying towards the bot side of the map. They're actually going to FF the dragon.
Yeah, to me that looked like what they were trying to do because he's cancelled another reset and Slowq's sitting on that pink ward. I think they were trying to bait M&S into a dive so they could kill him. They've got MC on this side of the map with the Rift Herald, and M&S just hasn't shown for a while. We'll be aware of at least one of their positionings right now. Going for the reset, he's just going to give the tower up. It doesn't matter. His team are getting the dragon. He's not going to die for a very obvious dive. He's just going to back off, give up this tower. His team have already started to reset as you see Kikis is coming forward. So they're going to get this tower, but the second one should be thwarted here as they have the manpower, they have the backup here.
Okay, it's a trade. It's a tower for a dragon. It could have been better. It could have been mid lane pressure into Rift Herald, into Dragon, and then you can potentially take two neutral objectives. Sorry, you can take tower and then neutral objective as well. But the fact that Riddle do have the vision towards the top side of the map, and that's the only thing they could see, and that's the only members of XL they could see, they had to take the side towards the top side of the map to try and cover them, but then they were losing vision towards the bottom side of the map, which is the dragon. So two dragons right now for XL. I think Riddle need to start getting ready for the next dragon and need to understand they need to fight that, or it's going to be Soul for the side of XL. And yes, you can argue that Cloud Soul is not the best you can get, but especially when you're squishy and you can run away and you can keep your distance with that extra movement speed, is just...
I feel that Zeri is quite happy with a Cloud Soul.
Yeah, exactly.
A champ's already quick enough, going to be even quicker if they can get that.
Or zoomies.
Going to be a zoomy girl. XL though, just looking to get some pressure here within this jungle. They're actually doing a pretty good job of kind of just muscling their way in, placing down the vision, forcing them back. And this is actually just getting Cries, who's going to now head to that bot side and get set up with that wave. JDXL, they had the shove. You got the Tiamat, you got the Triforce onto Zamulek. So it's making pretty short work of these waves at this point.
I'm just worried right here because I feel like XL is just winning on macro again.
Yeah.
You've got M&S literally taking tops of the map. He thinks he's getting flanked. TP is out. He's safe, but he's taking the tower.
Kais. I mean, Kais is just dead. Slowq just actually clowned on him. What?
He did take the tower for that, though. So every single time... Sorry, the tower was already down.
Tower was already dead.
Okay, so he didn't take anything for that. So it's a trade for a tower and a kill. You take those. Yes, Slowq gets really fat and fed at this point. He's becoming a really big Akali. But you took a tower on the other side of the map. And again, I feel like Riddle are not necessarily matching the side lanes. You've got the Sion, he's got Hullbreaker. He should be more than safe on a side lane. You've got Flash, you've got your ultimate. But right now, Riddle are trying to pull XL in. Remember, M&S had to use his TP to get out. So he cannot join the fight.
Charging, is able to hit the wall. So actually, that's going to be the Baron dissuaded as Kex kind of fumbled that play a little bit.
Hey, it's like a Nautilus anchor, you know?
That was a spellbook exhaust. I got... really thrown off from it. I was like, did he actually just exhaust him there? But they're flashing forward. They're looking for MC. MC flashes out as well. So far, we haven't actually had that big team fight, that defining team fight. And I think it's because XL are just running around the map and kind of avoiding Riddle.
Yeah,
and Riddle don't feel...
I feel like Riddle are getting desperate at this point. Riddle feel like they need to get something done. You don't necessarily need to get something done. Your Akali also scales to the gods. You've got an Aphelios that can 1v5 later on in the fight, and you've got two beefy members. The Lee Sin's going to be beefy, and the Sion I don't even have to mention because literally his HP bar is larger than Germany. So he's going to be super strong to just stand in front of the Aphelios and allow the Aphelios to free hit. All you have to do is just reply to the side lanes and allow XL to make moves on you and use the fact that you have so much dive in the backline. Once Kikis overextends to try and reach over to the Aphelios, you jump onto their Zeri, you jump onto the Jace. They have so many squishy targets. Hell, even the Xin Zhao is a target for Riddle at this point. Slowq, with an item and a half, he's got the pen in there as well. He can actually burn through Dan's HP bar.
I'm glad you mentioned the items because we haven't really done too much looking at that. As Zamilek has now finished up the Titanic Hydra, so a lot of wave clear, a lot of damage from that second item. Almost got M&S's Muramana fully evolved and fully stacked up. Cry's just 1.5 items at the moment, but pretty close to that Nash's Tooth. Probably gets it on this base as well. On the other side, you've obviously got on the Aphelios, you've got the Kraken Slayer, you've got the Mortal Reminder. Like you said, Zhonya's is almost finished up for Slowq. Probably a wave or two from finishing that one up. Can't see the exact gold. I would like to actually have a look at the gold on each member because, yes, there's a 1,000 gold lead for Zamulek in the bot lane. There's a 2,000 gold lead in the mid lane. Kind of expected that one.
So that is due to, and again, you're wondering, like, how in the world this Akali's 2-0. This M&S on the dish has done nothing on the map because she's 0-1-0. The only thing he's done is die. He took every single tower plating in the middle. He took the tower prior to to minute 14, and he's taken top lane tower by himself, whilst also being about 80-90 CS up.
We're almost at a flame horizon. We're almost at that flame horizon. It's it's pretty scary because obviously this Jace hasn't actually really done much, but is incredibly strong. And when M&S decides it's time to join the team,
go again.
You're in that Baron pit. If M&S starts shutting up and throwing shot blasts in, you got to get out of there because those shot blasts are just going to chunk anybody in those pits.
Yeah, I feel like, again, Riddle are getting a little bit desperate. They're trying to figure out a way because XL are just not making moves. XL are more than happy at winning side lanes at this point because they know that wherever they put M&S, he actually has pressure. Now, the problem is that if they put him against Akali, Akali can very easily dive him and kill him.
Yeah.
It's not just as easy to do that onto Crysis Gwen because you've got the Ghost to run away. You've also got your IEI immune bubble to hide in as well. So it's much easier for Crys to try and deal with Slowq's Akali, but can he deal with MC's Lee Sin plus Slowq's Akali?
Keep in mind, Crys's one death was to Slowq 1v1.
Yep.
So there is still potential here. Equal in levels right now, obviously equal in items. Slowq has that Zhonya's though, which is really nice.
XL,
there.
third dragon. It feels like Riddle are trying to find fights that are non-existent. Push the mid lane tower, put down some vision. You've got vision on the left, you've got vision on the right. Get your account there, get your Lee Sin there, try to put some pressure onto this tower. I feel like Riddle are playing desperate and scared right now.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the necessary vision, even though they know XL is resetting because they have just done the dragon. They don't get the necessary vision down. Therefore, they cannot push too far forward. Every time they farm, it's literally underneath the tower. I feel like Kex is stuck underneath the tower on cleanup duty. The only one who can push around is Slowq when MC is shadowing him. And then Nukes and Fatichan staying alone in the middle is very dangerous because yes, the Rakan is very slippery and he can CC, but he's also very squishy. If he gets caught, he can die.
I don't know if this is scared or just a little confused. It feels to me like Riddle are just a little confused on what they should be doing, so they try to look for a fight. But XL just respect that and they're going, well, we're taking a dragon, so we'll just play further back.
Let me tell you an easy way to pick up a fight. Dragons.
Yeah, they are the best way to do it. M&S coming in for the shot blast over the wall, not going to be able to find it. This tower taking a little bit of damage, but it's still very healthy.
You see how difficult it is? When you're catching XL on a reset, for example, if you give them the dragon and you try to trade for that mid lane tower, it's very easy to do so because not a lot of members of XL are actually defending this tower. Now that the entirety of the cavalry is just literally waiting underneath tier 1, it's just so easy for Kikis to try and get a pick, but they're going in.
Oh, M&S able to flash away, dodging out on absolutely everything. Teleports are coming in. They're trying to find the backup. The slow does land from Zamielek. They jump onto MNS with MC with the kick. Dan slides in, gets the crescent guard off. Zamielek untouched and unloading damage onto the Riddle members. MC, he's going to get caught out. The solar flare goes a little bit wide, but now Kex has been jumped onto, and he is going to get cut down. XL, fine too. Nukes gets chunked, and the needlework does all of the work they need to find the third kill. XL absolutely stomp Riddle.
Yeah, that was very well played from XL. Riddle tried to break XL apart into 2 battlefields, but that did not favor Riddle whatsoever. And again, the desperation is showing. They show that they don't know how and where to pick fights that they can win. Right there was absolutely nothing to fight for. They thought they could actually catch MNS, but MNS was breaking ankles all along. This entire game, they've been trying to catch the mobile Jace, and MNS has only died once from an overextension of his, and he was in the mid lane. So again, you see Nukes gets dodged, MC gets dodged, Kex gets dodged, and MNS is able to run away. And then while Slowq is trying to put damage down onto the Leona, Kryze is there to defend, which means that Slowq cannot play this fight. Fatterson has not even put down a single auto attack because he had to play against Kikis and crash onto that Gwen. And basically, your 2 carries have been deemed completely incapable of playing this team fight, so you have no damage. Therefore, everyone in the front line dies.
That was a beautiful dodge there from MNS. Teleported into the top wave, looked to catch that wave and shove it in. They're kind of just ignoring the bot side for the moment as Kex, and oh my word, the needlework into the solar flare. He pops the ultimate to get away though. Is going to dodge away on that final strike from the needlework, but wow, Kryze is starting to hurt.
Yeah, that's meant to be your most tanky member in the team as well. So when one Gwen can do this to you, it's very problematic. We mentioned it from the start. Kryze is going to get a pretty free lane. You're playing against a Sion. You're always going to be pretty farmed up by the end of the game, and he is. He's about 70 CS up. He's got his kill, he's got his assist. It's a fat Gwen right now. If you see that Gwen, you better run away because he is going to 100-0 you real quickly. And Kex, we mentioned how he was going to be the rock in the front line. He can't even stand in the front line right now because he gets hurt by Zeri, he gets hurt by Gwen. Oh, there we go.
They jump in, they find the knock up onto Zamielek. Zamielek able to dodge away the shielding, the flash over the wall to keep himself alive. But in comes Slowq, finds himself a shutdown, instantly into the Zhonya's, tries to jump away, but Kikis lost him in place, and Kikis takes him down. Now XL on the run, the slow from Zamielek over the wall, the solar flare onto multiple members as Dan tries to jump in. Zamielek slides over, they line the kick onto Kryze as Kryze is still alive, trying to find a little bit more additional damage as Zamielek is starting to pop off, picking up kills, left, right, and center. 80 carry versus 80 carry, but Zamielek can't get the range, but he can close in onto MC and take him down. It's a triple kill for Zamielek. XL snap their fingers and wipe Riddle.
And that's why you don't let B1 Zeri slip right out your fingers, because Zamielek's gonna say, thank you very much, I will take this and I will run you down. And XL have run down Riddle in this one.
That was a absolutely beautiful fight from JDXL. Nukes is going to try his hardest to hold, but he can't as the Nexus goes down, and game number 1 goes to JDXL.
Really, really, really well played from XL right there. They did exactly what Torque said. They're playing the map. They're playing peak League of Legends. Peak League of Legends doesn't mean if you are better on paper than your team, that you just have to go in all the time and try to go for kills. They played the map. They played for the objectives. Every time there was a fight happening, there was a tower going down on the other side of the map.
Yeah.
And then after that, they just use all the vision that they have accumulated for themselves. They kept pushing it in. And every time Riddle overstepped for an advantage, they just completely shut them down. So that was very clean.
It felt a little bit to me like Riddle were lost. I think that's the fairest way to put it in that game. You know, like you said, they kept overextending, looking for these kills, but the timing was off because the dragon was up, or, you know, there just wasn't anything really to be gained from going up there. So, you know, for me, it just felt like they looked a little bit lost. But anyway,
the good thing is that they had all the likes to be able to win this
Yeah.
game. I think they played pretty well in the early game, so if they just go back really quickly, we'll look at that, see what mistakes were made, fix them up.
it's best of 5. They can fix them up. We're going to throw to a break, though, so we'll be back with game number 2 in a moment.